or a commitment.
There would have to be a commitment for that. The state requires that to.
But why should the people on North Starcrest, they have beautiful lawns, beautiful homes, they've been here, still quite a few of them still have been here since the beginning. Why should they sacrifice their lawns for your subdivision?
I understand the question.
Why?
What I have.
Explain that to the people. Yeah.
The answer is that there's a right-of-way there already. There's a 50-foot right-of-way across here, and the improvements could be done within the right-of-way. In other words, it would not be encroaching onto people's property.
That's not true.
I started it over.
That's not true.
It hit the maximum.
There's only about a 6-foot right-of-way from that road to the top of my property line.
That's not true. The county had to take property in an easement from my house to put the red light in. That red light is on our property.
To widen the road, yes.
So to widen the road is not in an easement, that's in my yard. So to tell these people that it wouldn't impact their yard is a lie.
But
Would you like to have your yard? Would you like to have your yard to make another developer happy?
Grapewood Drive is a 50-foot right-of-way, according to the records we have, from 602 back to the back end. That's all I'm talking about as far as right-of-way.
Can't be widened.
She's got her hand up first.
Yeah, answer her question.
Please get her.
All right, hold on one second. Go ahead. I'll get you next.
I have a question.
I'll get you next. Go ahead, ma'am, go ahead. Can you stand up?
Back to Mary Ann's question with the road, and you not knowing where the pond is. That pond that you're not sure where it is, there is a culvert that runs under that road that is falling apart. If it wasn't for us as homeowners calling VDOT ourselves to fix the road once in a while, and our numbers are vastly less than your numbers, it's not going to hold it. You're going to have to completely rebuild the road to have this much traffic on it.
There's another creek that they've already had to do that to, where the culvert.
And it's still not right.
And you're talking about increasing traffic by 1,000 trips a day. Yeah.
1,000 trips a day.
Who's approved the plan that is going to allow this connection? It doesn't seem, I know it's not the developer, your connection's fine, you're not impacting anything, you're just connecting. But who in the county or the state approved a plan that would allow this connection of a parkway road with all those houses to a non-parkway, regular road without even knowing the impacts?
Exactly. Exactly.
Let me explain what I think she's trying to say, and what everybody else is trying to say is they're
It's been
looking at
reviewed,
as an overall plan that, as you say, the cul-de-sac is a temporary until the northern boundary cuts the road, which has it on the plan. I've seen it and understand where it's coming from. However, that plan was developed a long time ago, so their concerns are, that was developed a long time ago when there was nothing. Now we have a whole community over here, so what studies have not been done, or what is going to happen to this little tiny community? So that's kind of the angst of what's going on here is yeah, it's on a piece of paper from 1802, but it doesn't make it right for 2013. So that's kind of where we are. I'm trying to sum it up for everybody.
That's perfect.
That's exactly.
If that makes it a little more clear. I mean, I understand you guys want to do your cut, and I'm trying to get through this as quickly as I can, and I'll get you guys in the back. But I think that in lies the ultimate question is, we understand that you have the ability to cut through,
We haven't heard why. Why do you need to cut through? That's what we haven't heard.
They want to.
Why do you need to cut through? Just because you have the ability?
Could I go back to his question just real quickly? Because the answer is very imperfect. When plans were approved 30 years ago, there was not the anticipation of what would happen. There was an expectation there'd be development behind, but no one knew what modern standards would be for road building, for stormwater management, for a drain off and runoff. So the plans that were approved, I'm sure, did not anticipate the standards of 2013.
Right, and that kind of analyzes the problem. So I think what we need to do is, and I'm going to speak here for a second, because I think what we need to do is find out what the overall plan is, what you've submitted, see if we can get copies of those. I have an FTP site. If you'd be willing to give me copies of the plans, I can put them on my FTP site. It's a secured site. I can upload them. I can give you all the password directly to that file. You can pull them up, look at them, so you don't have to worry about sending large files back and forth. You can view them on the screen, look at whatever it is that you want to, and then you can go to the public hearings that they have to submit to as well. Is that a fair assessment?
There's no public hearings.
Running it through.
Okay.
So then that, I mean, I can do that to help them out, then be able to see and understand, so, all the way in the back, and then I'll get you in the.
Question for the supervisor. You're our supervisor, correct?
That's correct.
Grapewood doesn't want this, correct?
Correct.
What are you gonna do to stop this?
We vote. We don't want it.
I got that message loud and clear. Politicians are pretty thick, but I got that. The answer is, I do not know, because I do not understand.
Well, you gonna try.
Fully. I'm gonna try and understand the situation.
Okay.
Okay.
You're hearing politicians now. What are you gonna do? Because this whole community don't want this.
Okay.
And we were here
So
before
let's
they
just say, for argument's sake, I say to the rest of my board of supervisors, I can't do it by myself, okay? For a 5-member board, 3 guys have got to agree to something. Let's just say I go to my board and say, we need to stop this. However that mechanism might be, okay? And I'm sorry, I don't know what that mechanism might be at this point. But let's just say we did, okay? Who knows what's going to happen from there? We make a decision, decisions are challengeable. They're appealable. There might be an appeal, we might get overruled. I do not know. I cannot tell you, okay? I need to know what the best mechanism is. For one thing, I came here tonight hoping to learn a lot more about this meeting that occurred a while back, because there may be something in there. I've learned about this issue with the school approval here, and I'm going to look into that, okay? I have no idea what I'm going to find, and I'm not going to sit here and promise you things I can't deliver.
Would you listen for a compromise? What about a walking path? If this road is supposed to be because of the school, what about a walking path for the kids instead?
Have your turn.
Somebody
You'll
who
talk
can-
to-
Let's get on to the next question. Gentlemen, sit down, please.
The plan was approved when it was a farmland, correct?
The Brookside property was still a farm at that point.
Yeah, that's when the cut-through was approved, so it was only approved for one property. That was it, not for a whole development.
That's not fair to say. It was an area that was planned for growth. It was zoned 1 for an acre even back
But when it was
then.
approved. it was
28 years
farmland.
ago?
Yeah, it was, the zoning on the ground was.
So the
And
farmer
that
at
was
that
back
time
when
wasn't
you
gonna.
couldn't build a
No, but
house
it
on
was
less than
definitely
10
meant to serve
acres.
future residential development behind that by, frankly, everybody's recognized residents. Yes, sir.
If you look at the master plan, it still shows Grapewood Drive as a cul-de-sac as it is today and was always planned to remain as a cul-de-sac. That is on the master plan, is in the comp plan for the Baltimore Service District. That is all the justification you need to stop this.
Write that down.
In the back, sir, back. First off, there was a petition that was passed around 3, 4, 5 years ago, I forget,
Well,
that everyone in the neighborhood signed. And obviously, there's no record of that petition ever existed. I live at 4307 Grapewood Drive. I've got probably, what would you say, Natalie, about 75 to 100 feet of roadway? How much of my yard am I going to lose because of dirt road improvements?
That's a VDOT question.
No, it's not. As dedicated, when the subdivision, the way that roads are created, typically, 2 ways. They're either paved and they weren't created, and at which time VDOT has to come back after the fact and say, oh, we mean for this to be a road, it's a prescriptive easement, we're gonna take it, and that's what it is. That's an oversimplification. That's not what occurred in this case. What happens with most subdivisions, including Grapewood, is that a plat of subdivision is drawn up that shows all the lots and storm sewer easements and trail easements and pond easements and road right-of-ways. And that road right-of-way is dedicated to the local municipality, in this case Fauquier County, and they enter into an agreement with VDOT to maintain the road after it gets inspected and approved and things like that. That right-of-way, which includes the stub piece to the border that we're talking about that hits Brookside, was dedicated at that time at 50 feet wide. Almost all subdivisions in Virginia are dedicated, including here now at Brookside, at 50 feet wide. The pavement or the road is not always built 50 feet wide. It varies in width. In your case, it's significantly less than that, so that there's a strip from the edge of the road to the edge of what VDOT and the county control, the right-of-way, that is still technically state right-of-way and not your individual front yards. You've been mowing it, you've been treating it like your front yard, technically it's not. Again, that's an oversimplification, but that's the best explanation for this, I think.
Right, because when Grapewood was built, it wasn't meant to accommodate 1,000 houses. The road was built to accommodate Grapewood's size, and that's how big the road needs to be. There are no berms. There's about a 18-inch gravel, and then it goes down into a culvert. I mowed the culvert, yeah, because I didn't like the grass growing.
VDOT certainly won't do it
But,
for you.
hello, you know, I mean, you people still haven't answered the question is, why do you need to cut through Grapewood? You're telling me that not that many people are gonna use it, then why do we need to cut through?
I don't think we've said not that many people are going to use it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
There's gonna be a lot of people
seriously.
using it, really.
There will be people
I
using it,
know.
and I would prefer to refer to it as a connection, not a cut through, but that's just me. It's an opportunity to continue to provide safe interconnectivity within the community of New Paltz. It was always intended to be extended into something else that no one knew. I do agree, though, that back when that road was built, VDOT standards were very different. And so what you're seeing out there, VDOT standards at that time, and what you would see out there, VDOT standards dictated what you would build today, would be different roads.
We're almost having two conversations. Should the road and the paperwork allow the right-of-way on paper to connect?
No.
We think yes. And is the road as built per the standards long ago adequate to handle the traffic that it's probably going to get? I don't think so. I don't think any of us think so. So those are two different things to talk about.
So why can't you flex and not do the cut through? Yes. Why can't you be flexible and leave our subdivision alone?
Or put a walking path for the school kids. No road, a walking path.
I'm on the county Parks and Rec board. I would love to see trails all through all of these
I want to live
communities.
in a trail neighborhood. I like my calm, quiet neighborhood.
We like it the way it is.
And thus it will be difficult to satisfy two different opinions, many different opinions in the room.
No. Take a vote and see how many people want the road at all. Just take that vote first, then we'll worry about how big it is.
Mel, I'll get you next.
I just want to know what the people of this neighborhood, what kind of steps they can take to try to make it not happen, if they, like petitions and things like that. And your board members that you say you have to talk to, is there some way for them to contact with other board members to make sure that they are aware of the situation?
Absolutely. You can go to the county's website, and the contact information for the Board of Supervisors is there under the county government homepage.
And is there personal emails?
It's their county.
And telephone numbers?
Their individual. There's the number for the office that we work at. 540-422-8021.
And can you give us the names of your fellow
Mr. Moore is on the transportation,
Which they failed to mention.
which I think is a conflict of interest.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
huge. Absolutely.
Oh, you're on the transportation?
Yes, ma'am, I am, and I enjoy it very much.
Conflict of interest.
All of the issues and problems from a transportation standpoint, that's back in
Where
county.
do you guys live? Do you live anywhere around here?
He lives in town, I live at the end of the street, our other partner lives on,
Oh, so you live in
Conflict
This
of
is
interest.
our community as well. ma'am.
Oh,
That's
but
correct.
not Grapewood.
But you
Oh, no, Grapewood is very much part of our.
No, it's
community.
We moved here from Fairfax County many years ago because your neighborhood is not what we wanted. We didn't want the clutter paving paradise. We moved to paradise, and you're gonna ruin it. You're gonna ruin our dream that we worked our life for. How do you feel? Would you live, if you lived on a cul-de-sac and your children were playing there, would you want me zooming through there every day? No.
I've lived in many communities in my life as well, and I think that the community is growing, the community is changing. We live inside the biggest service district in the county. We want to grow smart in this county. We need to grow smart within our service districts.
You don't, how is it cut through
How are you grow smart when all the building in this area?
Because this is the service district.
No, nowhere else is it.
Because we're in
Why did you put a marshal for the meeting? I mean, is the county wrong? They don't realize that? I mean,
It's not, how long you get a resident of Fauquier County? Resident of Fauquier County.
Have you guys looked at alternatives for turning into that? Have I thought about cutting another road further down as an alternate route for the people coming from Warrenton in? And it might alleviate some of that traffic. It's on that narrow road, and why you built a barrier this damn wide to narrow the road there, to make it slow going through there, or getting into there, if you got me. But I work with the Army Corps of Engineers, and I do a lot of planning for the Army. Now, have you looked at an alternative of possibly cutting another road in from 602 into that high school? Because it's right up front.
Yes, that has definitely been looked at over time. As far as an alternative connection into the high school goes, there was supposed to be one there. Frankly, the funding for the road was not nearly enough for it. And what funding was there went to the Fauquier High School renovations.
Why don't they take their money to build that second entrance? Because we get all the traffic for it. Why don't they take their money, make their communities fit to go to that school with their own certain road that has Brookside Parkway on it? Won't that just help them have a straight road just to the high school and the elementary school and to everywhere else? Why does it have to come through Grapewood?
Okay, but you're asking, I want to make sure I'm clear here. You're asking if the other entrance is being planned for entering on 602 or through Ring Road or any of those other roads around the high school?
Well,
Yeah, any of
coming from
road.
Grapewood, if you use that light, you're going straight into the high school. How long did it take you to get parked this morning going into school?
Well, I graduated last year, but it
Okay.
takes about like 12 minutes. So if you leave at 7, you
To go,
get there at
to go less than a
7:15.
quarter mile.
Yes.
Go
It
less
takes
than a
15
quarter mile
minutes
to
because
get
there's
to
the,
your
you
parking
stop for,
lot, right?
yeah.
And it's because of the way they built that road going into that school and down to that elementary school.
It's also because they don't allow the children to walk. Anyone in Grapewood should be able to walk to that high school.
Yeah,
I
and it's safe, I get it.
walk, so.
I remember I used to get in trouble walking to high school. When I tried walking home, to be like, turn around.
Grapewood, if people within a certain amount of distance could walk to school.
That's something,
And it
A
would
walking
cut down on
path.
obesity and all sorts of stuff.
that's something we have a lot of in charge of.
All right, I'm trying to stick it to everybody to where everybody gets a chance to speak, and so I'm gonna try to get around this room as quick as we can. I'll get back there, ma'am, I'll get you. Go ahead.
I wanna know what the cost gonna be for us taxpayers to pay for this road? You said we have to pay for part of it, how much you think? Just rough ballpark.
I think there were two conversations. The road that would connect to the existing road that's on our property in the existing right-of-way, zero. The improvements to a road that already exists that might be required, Holder, explain the process that may be 50%.
So we stand for a road we don't want.
Hold up, man, you talk. Let me get this one. Thank you. Now, you said we gotta pay 50%, whatever the cost may be. Now.
I defer to what Holder said.
Now, we gotta pay 50% for the connection and the improvement.
The improvement.
Just for the improvement. All right, just for the improvement. All right, I want to be clear. Now, how much time would it save people coming through? Because the only reason you're gonna come through that road is to go to Kettle Run.
That's right.
That's the only reason you're gonna, no, listen to me. The only reason you're gonna come through that road, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, is to go to Kettle Run. Because you already got a road connected through Ben Hill, and that's how you're gonna get 29 to go to work. You already got a road that's connected to 605 if you gotta go to work that way. So, the only reason you're gonna connect that road is to go to Kettle Run. So, how much time are you saving? You go 3 minutes around. It takes 4 minutes to go the other way, I just checked. So, you know, it's gonna cost us 50% for what, 5-6 minutes? That we don't even need, we not even use. But that's what I'm saying, you're only saving them 5 minutes at the moment.
Depending on where you originate, the answer will be different. I think that what the room needs to hear, I would imagine some of you have children that go to Auburn Middle School. The road does go 2 directions, not just one.
Yeah, but you can go right down the street and turn in just like I did today. Going down the road, and what is that road?
Addington.
I can't do that. So you don't need a road, man. You gotta go through Addington and get to the school.
As we continue to state, the goal of transportation in New Baltimore has consistently, in the most recent past, been to create more interconnectivity. That's what this
Talking about more interconnectivity, I was wondering about Finch Lane, that's due to be widened and developed according to the plan. I wonder when that's going to happen, and would that not provide another very adequate access from Brookside over to the schools?
It's not our project. It's a county-run project in coordination with the Hill EDA. It's under design now. There are state matching funds. Finch Lane and Kennedy are probably under construction. There's a lot of stuff to do sometime next year, and maybe complete the year after.
And when that's completed, that would be a good, adequate road, giving access to...
That provides yet another good connection, including to the folks north on Shepherdstown and up here 600 that travel through Van Hill to go into this area, yes.
So be back to Finch Lane, so I'm aware of what's going on there. I also walk over into the hill with my dogs every morning, right where the high school is going. And there's the problem is with queuing there. As you turn right onto 602, in the morning at the high school, everybody's backed up the hill onto Finch Lane up to Kennedy. Since the Brookside Parkway, we just first time went on tonight, and the Bin Hill Parkway now are all going to be connected with the new roads. Instead of perhaps building the Grapewood cut through, it might be better to instead have a light at Watson. It's up further, it won't have the queuing problem, and that's why we can't have the light at Finch, and that would be a straight through cut through.
When you say queuing, can you?
Queuing means backing up, because if you're turning right, you can't get.
So, and you're talking about the backing up, back up
Finch,
Finch?
and it goes all the way up to Kennedy.
Because one of the other problems that I see is that when you turn out of Finch onto Rhodes Road, and you get in the left-hand turn lane to turn to the school, that needs to be improved. It's probably half as short or more than it needs to be. So I think with a new entrance to the school, an additional entrance to the school, with the continued road frontage improvements to Rhodes Road itself, I believe that all of these transportation issues are going to continue to help themselves so that we can continue to move around through our community.
It does not include a light, but the improvements to Finch do include a turn lane that should alleviate some of that.
They were just at the hearing last night. It's exactly the same way it is right now. They're widening the lane, but they're not putting in a turn lane.
Part of the problem is they can't have a light there, it's too close to the other light. That's why I said maybe more sense at Watson.
Can we get back to Grapewood?
little bit more difficult to get to because you'll have to continue on the parkway, all the way up to the intersection of the Parkway and Watson, to take a right on Watson. Otherwise, you have to drive down 8 and that's not the most.
The road there, is that being straightened out there or no?
Yeah, Watson is in Watson, except for the piece of Watson that's not built yet, that connects to the future road.
Brookside already has some access point on the road.
There is a Brookside Road that connects to the
allow your access to Remote Road that would be more beneficial to you all to the life and your existing some of the site distance and viewing to allow folks to get out.
I understand. A couple problems. The first problem is only VDOT dictates whether the light goes in or doesn't go in.
Based on traffic.
What are your contingency plans if our neighborhood were able to block the Grapewood Road? And secondly, could you advise us of the cost per household that is 50% of our responsibility to upgrade Grapewood might possibly be?
I think there's some confusion on that. It would come out of funds, shared road funds. We have two sources. One, we could go to the state of Virginia and VDOT, and we could ask for revenue sharing funds, where the state would give us certain amounts of money. Now, technically, that money would come out of all of the people that live in the state that have paid taxes, including the ones in Southern Virginia. It comes out of the state taxes. The second way to do it is that every time a house is sold at Brookside, every time a property is sold at Bid Hill, money is put into a transportation escrow fund. Those funds have grown significantly, and they may be able to be used as well. So we're not going. I don't think anybody's going to knock on your door and say, "U.S. check $47,000 or $12, whatever it is."
Is that going to change our tax basis to have to pay for part of the road?
I would say no. I'm not.
Because didn't I hear you say that we were responsible for 50%?
I felt that the question was, what is the taxpayer obligation?
Yes.
And
Oh, yes.
the bigger taxpayer. And as Ed and I think Supervisor Trumbo both stressed, there are existing funds, both the Brookside community and the Bend Hill Business Park have as part of their proffers what was expected to be unidentified over the course of their development traffic impacts. Those traffic impacts were meant to be mitigated by the continuing contribution of money as those two things developed, and those escrows were set aside. The county controls those two escrow funds, and those may or may not be used to address these issues.
What you didn't answer the first part of my question, which is what is the contingency plan if Grapewood is able to block the cut through?
Fairly, we would hope you wouldn't do that. We don't think you can do that. And yes, we have contingency plans.
Could you share that? Could you share that?
I don't think that's appropriate.
I do think it is.
Why not tell us what the alternatives are? Why not?
We think it's a legally connectable road and has been that way for 40 years, so we don't see the need to develop an alternate plan at this time.
That lacks consideration. You're just telling us now that you know that it's going through, so you don't need to.
We believe that it's going to. That's what we believe.
And if it didn't, what would we be able to do instead? Which may in fact be a viable option instead of
In the event that the road is not successful in main connection, we have to have that happen.
Yeah, and I think what was
Mr. Trumbo can do is take that back to the board, or when you call your supervisors, you can ask that question. Have them be transparent and say, what are your other options? So,
I mean, I realize that I still.
I do want to ask something, but I think the lady back there should ask first with her hand back.
If you wouldn't mind, please. I have problems hearing sometimes, and something was said before that I would like a clarification on. And it involves wetlands and something to do with Grapewood Drive. The reason I say this is because I have been happily living in our home for 30 years. The pond that you don't know what it is or where it is right adjacent Grapewood Drive, between Starcrest and the next street. The area that comes from Vent Hill between those two streets is at times when it is raining, when it is storming, that area is a whitewater creek. And the white water that comes from Vent Hill goes under Grapewood Drive and right into that pond. So what do you consider wetlands? And how has that got to do with our little Grapewood community and maybe saving it?
Wetlands are defined, there's a certain criteria they use to identify wetlands. There has to be a certain soil type, there have to be certain plants that are growing on it, it has to receive some level of identification by a professional engineer.
Okay. Could I please just say one thing? When the houses were built, we were the second family to move in. Snyder and Oliver.
Maxwell?
No. Snyder and Oliver were the builders. And they said that nothing could be built between there because they were wetlands. Were we told wrong?
I don't know. What may be happening is that wetlands and stream valley or floodplain are not necessarily the same thing. They are sometimes confused. From what you have described, and from what we know of the flood channels through there, including to that pond, it sounds like the pond and the pipe are functioning as intended, and that they are catching what is the runoff from that area north, which includes Vent Hill, to be their catch area, their watershed, and it is collecting in that pond, and that pond's letting it out slowly so that the downstream doesn't whitewater wash like that. That is not the same thing as a wetlands.
Well, it's not a stormwater retention pond.
How's it defined?
It was actually a farm.
Just a pond.
So that whole area was wet.
And so it's probably floodplain.
It's wet now, we can go there now.
Sure.
On the other side of it's wet.
Do we know anything about that?